Pakistani radar and air defense systems. If India has neutralized the Pakistani air defense radar systems, Pakistan had asked for it. After all, last night, Pakistan sent in drones and missiles to target 15 Indian cities: Awantipura, Srinagar, Jammu, Pathankot, Amritsar, Kapurthala, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Adampur, Bhatinda, Chandigarh, Nal, Phalodi, Uttarlai and Bhuj. But none of their attempts were successful because the Indian anti-missile systems, Indian air defense systems were able to neutralize the projectiles from the Pakistani side in mid-air. Pakistan had failed to hit any of the 15 Indian cities. They also planned to hit some of the military targets, but India used its S-400 Sudarshan Chakra Harpy drones to neutralize Pakistan missiles aimed at 15 cities, as I said. But as India said, India was not willing to escalate the tensions. But India has made it clear, whether it is the defense minister, whether it is the national security advisor, whether it is the external affairs minister, said that India was not interested in escalating, but should Pakistan try any misadventure, India would respond. And that is what exactly India did. Now let's take a look at these cities hit by the Indian missiles and drones early this morning. Yes, Rawalpindi, Karachi, Lahore. If you can have bigger pictures of each one of these cities. Rawalpindi, Karachi, Lahore attacked. Lahore, the air defense system was absolutely neutralized. That is the airport near Lahore airport that was hit by Indian drones and missiles, plume of smoke coming up into the air. That is the video on the screen, viewers. And this is on the right hand side. That is the big ball of fire. That is again Lahore. And we also have that attack in Karachi, Rawalpindi, all the air defense installations mainly. So it's very clear, India would not like to escalate, but should Pakistan try, as they did last night but failed, India responded, and Pakistani air defense systems have been hit hard. Now, let me go to my panelist this evening. I have Lieutenant General Arvinder Lamba, former Vice Chief of Army Staff. I have with me Lieutenant General retired R.P. Kalita, former Eastern Army Commander. I have Group Captain retired Mohan Tapanging, former Indian Air Force pilot. Gentlemen, welcome. India has once again struck back in self-defense. General Lamba, what do you think? Because yesterday night the Pakistanis tried to attack 15 of our cities, but our air defense system were able to neutralize. None of their projectiles fell on the ground or hit the targets. They were neutralized mid-air. What are your thoughts? General Lamba, yes. Okay, let me get a response on this from General R.P. Kalita. General R.P. Kalita, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this again proves the degree of preparedness of the Indian Armed Forces, as also the capability demonstration of the Indian Armed Forces in handling the escalatory situation that has been developing after the Indian strike on the 9 terrorist camp. Like it has been mentioned earlier, India had purposefully targeted the 9 terrorist camps in its strike on the night of 7th May. And thereafter, in the press briefing, it was clearly laid out that the measures by India were non-escalatory but proportional. And that is how India described the steps taken, that they strike on the 9 terrorist camp. And thereafter, it was expected that Pakistan, what actions Pakistan would do, whether it will escalate or it would try and de-escalate and control the situation. But like always, Pakistan has decided to escalate, and they have decided to hit military targets because they had no other option, because there are no terrorist bases in India, like we all know. So they had the option of only hitting the military targets or the civilian installations. This is in continuation to their escalation in violence along the LOC in J&K, targeting innocent civilians and civilian infrastructure, which need to be condemned by all and sundry. So I would say that the Pakistan escalated last night by trying to attack 15 cities right from all along the western border, right from Srinagar to Bhuj, and which was ably neutralized by the alert Indian forces utilizing S-400 and other air defense mechanism, and thereafter responded proportionately again and in non-escalatory manner, and targeted in the same manner in which the Pakistan had initiated its attack against military installation. However, India was able to inflict damage, and which has been proved by the visuals which you see of various places that India targeted.
Right.
And India successfully suppressed the air defense coverage in these areas which were the target of these attacks. I think
right.
Now the onus is back on the Pakistan. What steps they take now?
Onus is back in Pakistan. Let me go to Lieutenant General Arvinder Lamba. Lieutenant General Lamba, yesterday, before the crack of dawn, the 9 terrorist targets were absolutely flattened in Pakistan. Then India had made it clear that they will not escalate the situation unless Pakistan decides to do so. Pakistan decided to do so. Last night, Pakistan tried to attack 15 Indian cities but failed because they were neutralized mid-air by the Indian anti-missile systems. Today, India hit at the very heart of Pakistan, striking some of its biggest air defense systems in Lahore, in Karachi, in Rawalpindi. What are your initial comments?
I think, Dr. Wasbir, the key is the last sentence that you've made, and that is India's attack on air defense systems of Pakistan. I think with having defended itself extremely well, generally it was believed that Shaheen 3 missiles would have been fired and we have the S-400. These are the ongoing conversations, but I think these are those domains where India has virtually perfected its air defense, despite series of maybe about 20 to 25 missiles fired all along the western border. All of them have been intercepted mid-air. The pictures on the media are very clear. None of them could have any impact on the ground or the intended targets at all. It prevented a great deal of damage that it could have done, and I think it's a great proof that the S-400 and its allied systems stood formidably against all the attacks of Pakistan. Going the other side, India has struck the air defense systems at Lahore and several other places, which we all know. It's an indicator that while we can attack and penetrate your airspace, the same is not happening or being given any success to the Pakistan
right.
missiles or any other strikes.
Right.
So that's a big call. That's a very big defense that we see the third space of a border that's been made virtually impregnable by India.
Right, absolutely. Group Captain Montopanging, as a fighter pilot, I'm asking you this question, Group Captain. How do you feel when an enemy country's air defense system is hit? What kind of an advantage does it give to our Air Force? Because most of these attacks these days will be carried out through the aerial route, whether it is our fighter jets, whether it is the drones or kamikaze drones or other drones and missile systems. Now, when India has been able to strike at the heart of Pakistan, targeting its air defense systems, what kind of an advantage does it give to the Indian Air Force? Okay, we have lost the connection with Montopanging. I'll take that question to him, but we have a breaking story at this point. India has temporarily suspended operations of aircrafts from as many as 20 airports in the northern and western part of the country. I'm sorry, from 27 airports in the northern and western part of the country. India temporarily suspends operations from as many as 27 airports in the northern and western part of the country. That is the breaking news coming in. Let me go to General Kalita now before I can establish that connection back with Group Captain Panging. That same question, now that we have struck at the Pakistani air defense, what kind of an advantage, General, you think it gives to our Air Force?
You see, suppression of the air defense system of the enemy gives a huge advantage to own Air Force, because a short reply is then our own Air Force can function with impunity. So having penetrated their air defense network and neutralized it, now the threat to our aircrafts who are going in for engaging any possible target in future is minimized. So that's something which provides a sense of security, and it provides a huge advantage to the Air Force for any future operations that are envisaged across the international border as well as across the line of control.
Absolutely huge advantage to our force. Now, I think Mohanto Panging, Group Captain, is back. Group Captain, can you hear me, first of all? Okay, we don't have the line. I asked my producers to fix it first before bringing him online. Now, you see, General Lamba, the Pakistani air defense architecture is basically a multi-layered system primarily built, around Chinese supplied surface-to-air missile systems, supplemented by some indigenous and European systems, whereas our air defense system is one of the most robust in South Asia, as you know, and it integrates Russian, Israeli and indigenous technologies. Now, while our air defense has been able to neutralize the Pakistani projectiles mid-air that was fired on 15 cities last night, we have been able to breach the Pakistani air defense system. So what does it mean? How do you contrast the two air defense system viewed superficially?
When you go on to a situation like this, and where we do expect that the Pakistan would be desperate to go across the border and do something big, we cannot say that it won't happen. But if it is to do this, it would have its air force definitely coming across, or its missiles coming across before it does any cross-border, say ground thrusts or anything else. It is an immense use, like brought out by General Kalita, that we have neutered the border as far as the Air Force penetration is concerned. You mentioned about the airports, 27 airports where the flights have been cancelled. This is all a defensive and a protective measure so that aircraft and casualties do not happen in static and peace environment by their missiles. You can imagine if one of these missiles that were fired last night and this morning would have struck any of the airport where there would be passengers, it would have created a huge amount of damage. But today we are at the cusp of a moment when there will be, or there may be, cross-border action by Pakistan, which is desperate, wherein we have a system. And you mentioned about the air defense. Surely Indian defense is a robust, layered defense with the state-of-art systems. Right, you said it right. S-400 is truly the state of art, and we have other systems integrated which are of origin of Israel, and many of them indigenous as well. So we have a formidable layer. But on the other side, you've said yourself, the impregnability was visible on the other side when all our missiles and every missile we struck hit its destination and target. So we are at a very positive point, at an advantage to either counter his operations or prevent any ingress or aggressive action by Pakistan.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me once again try to go back to Group Captain Mohanto Panging. Group Captain, can you hear me finally? Can you hear me? No, he still cannot hear me. So I request my producers not to bring him online unless the line is true. Thank you. Now, General Kalita, technology. Now, okay, fine, we are the fourth largest army in the world. Indian army is the fourth largest army in the world, and we are not in a situation of 1962. It is 2025, and we have a very tough leadership. We have got a very robust leadership in New Delhi. Now, the point is, what about technology? Now, for example, this strikes on in the very heart of Pakistan this morning, where these air defenses of Pakistan were absolutely neutralized, particularly in Lahore. The Indian Armed Forces used what is called the Harpy drones. These are special drones designed to attack radar systems and is optimized for the suppression of enemy air defenses. And it carries high explosive warheads equipped with anti-radiation Sika, etc., etc. Now, technology is playing a very big role in today's warfare, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. With the advent of technology, you see technological development are taking place at a very, very fast pace. And new equipments are coming up alongside with the technological developments, particularly in the fields of drone technology or AI and other machine learning and all these things. But like we have seen in Russia-Ukraine war as well, the use of drones, including swarm drones and all, have paid huge dividends to the attacker. And alongside that, the accuracy of all these equipments also have, all the ammunitions have also improved considerably. But having said that, alongside the technology, what is also equally important is the ability to absorb the technology in your strategy and tactics. It is not only having the particular new generation weapon or equipment is not going to suffice. Your forces have to be able to absorb the technology and adapt themselves so that they are able to exploit the potential of the new technology. That is equally important. And I think that is where India has made huge grounds and have been able to adapt itself, adapt its strategy and tactics to the new technological developments that are taking place and are able to exploit them completely. And that is why that has been amply demonstrated by the successful suppression of the air defense facilities at Lahore and the other airports, which have been proved by the visuals. I would also like to mention that Pakistani air defense or the other equipments are largely based on Chinese equipment. So this is also this should definitely raise a question mark on the efficacy of the Chinese equipment and the huge claims they make about their potentials.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is a very important point. That I was coming to that actually, because as I said, General Lamba, as I said that the Pakistani air defense architecture is a multi-layered system. It's primarily built around the Chinese supplied surface-to-air missile systems. Of course, some indigenous here and there, but basically, as General Kalita said, it's they're basically banking on Chinese supplied technologies as far as their air defense is concerned. Now, it raises their confidence will be shattered. The Pakistan's confidence will be shattered on the equipments they have from their biggest ally, the Chinese.
Dr. Wasbir, very well said. I think this is a war which is giving the first indication and test of technology in every dimension virtually. We've seen right from our pre-launch or pre-offensive the reconnaissance and surveillance details we had of every target. We could follow up right till the weapon systems struck those weapons. We saw the state before the strike, we saw the state, the post-strike assessment we could do easily. Right from that to how we have managed our systems, which are technologically of a much higher status. You're right, we've seen several, we've studied so much about the Chinese systems which are there with Pakistan. None of them have actually stood up to the priority and the emergency that they were to respond with. There are two things. One is the system has simply been employed or provided, but it's not been trained upon. And my fear is that layers of such air defense systems have just been brought together without anyone understanding or putting them together. On the other side, if you see the way the system, and you mentioned about the Horup drone, it's a loitering drone. It's a state-of-art drone made by Israel Aerospace. It's with India, and India's, if I'm not wrong, launched more than about 30 of these drones between last night and this morning. I think it's a phenomenal drone which has a system of picking up targets, of designating targets, of loitering and striking at the most optimal moment. I think the technology is very, very clear on both sides, and we have a huge edge to the extent that we've seen so far.
Absolutely. Harpy drones have worked wonders. It's equipped to hunt, seek targets in a designated area, locate and identify their frequency and autonomously pursue the targets. I think Group Captain Panging is finally with me. Group Captain, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Now, you know, this morning's attack by India in self-defense, of course, neutralizing some of the Pakistani Pakistani air defense systems, particularly in Lahore, Karachi and Rawalpindi. As a fighter pilot, what kind of a confidence that it gives you? What kind of an advantage does it bring to our Air Force when the enemy country's air defense system is either completely or partially neutralized?
Actually, in today's modern warfare, one of the first important missions which precludes all other missions is suppression of enemy air defenses. That is the first mission which allows the subsequent aircraft, strike aircraft or air defense aircraft to penetrate across. So first we have to suppress the enemy air defenses. This is mission number one. So what we have heard is that HQ-9P system, that is the Chinese system which the Pakistan operates. So for any kind of surface-to-air missile system, first you have to have a search radar, which first detects the hostile target. And thereafter it is handed over to the tracking radar, which locks onto the target. And then thereafter it, when in range, when in the firing envelope, it fires a missile. There is a sequence of operation. So what happens in peacetime is that we operate certain range of frequencies and keeps the other for wartime frequencies. We don't open it up. So similar is the case for every other nation, every other military force. So when this type of actual probing missions take place, it must have happened earlier, like how it has been done. I am sure this has happened earlier with the Indian Air Force and Indian Army. Probing missions are launched to make them open up the radars. And once they open up the radars, every electronic signature is picked up. And once the electronic signature is picked up, they will be targeted. Now we have present day anti-radiation missiles, we have anti-radiation drones. So once the frequency and the other electronic signature of the radar is picked up, obviously it's a target not only for a hard kill, it is also a target for a soft kill. It generally stops the radar from detecting the target clearly in terms of angle, distance and elevation. And obviously it leads to misfiring. So this is a little bit of escalation. Obviously, there was supposed to be some retaliatory action. So some things were attempted by them. And in the attacks that was carried out on the night of 6th and 7th, some of the radars must have opened up. And the electronic signature must have been picked up, and obviously they were targeted by our weapon systems.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We will go into details of that. Let me go to General Kalita. General Kalita, you see, basically, we have the technology, and we have already heard voices, loud voices in Pakistan ever since Operation Sindoor was successfully launched crack of dawn yesterday. Now, since yesterday and today, after today's attack right in the heart of the country, this is Lahore, Rawalpindi and Karachi, already voices, whether it is whether it is lawmakers in Pakistan, whether it is common people, they're saying that what are our forces doing? They have been able to pinpoint our targets and they have not been able to hit any of the Indian cities they had planned to do last night because they were neutralized mid-air. Now, does it increase the desperation of Pakistan? Do you think this can lead to further escalation because Pakistan will have to show something to their people?
Yeah, it is, definitely it adds to their desperation. Like I stated earlier in yesterday's conversation also, the stock of Pakistan Army or the credibility of Pakistan Army among the common Pakistanis is extremely low, has been low even before Op Sindoor was launched or even before Pahalgam attack was carried out by the terrorists who were backed by Pakistanis. And in fact, there is a strong reason to believe that Pahalgam attack was launched and planned by Chief of Army Staff Asim Munir to regain relevance of Pakistan Army and to divert the attention of the Pakistani common people. So definitely such type of incidents like what had happened on last 2 nights of failure of Pakistan Army to provide protection to their terrorist camps against the strikes by the Indian were very successful. Failure of their retaliatory measures in targeting 15 of Indian cities, and failure to prevent retaliatory attack by India in their airport and the other cities, and who were able to by which India was able to suppress or neutralize their air defense network. So all these have a cumulative effect on the psyche of the Pakistan Army, particularly the Chief of Army Staff and his hierarchy. So definitely they are under pressure. Now this can work two ways. One, if somebody's back is against the wall, he
Right.
would be desperate to get out from that by taking
Absolutely.
any very risky measures. Then his rational thinking capability goes away.
Yes.
And he's then desperate to take any measure. So
Yeah.
which can
We have to be
even
calls.
even lead to some sort of a self-destruction
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
That is one.
that is-
and the
that-
second is also more rational if they are able to have some sort of rational thinking and realize that this is going to lead nowhere, because in capability wise and
Right.
international support wise they don't stand any chance
Right.
against India's might. So
Right.
if
We
that
will-
rational thinking comes into their mind,
Yes.
I think it would lead to better sense prevailing.
Let's hope so. I'll go for a quick 30-second break. I'll come back after this very short commercial.
You are watching Northeast Live, the region's largest English and Hindi news network.
কি হ'ল
সন্ধিয়ালৈকে কাম কৰোতে কৰোতে সদায় গাৰ বিষ হৈ যায়, তাৰ উপৰিও আকৌ মূৰটো বিষাইছে।
তো ওপৰতে হ'ব শুনজনী, ভিতৰ চোৱাটো খালী। এয়া লোৱা আৰামৰ ৰজা নৱৰত্ন তেল। মূৰৰ বিষ, ভাগৰ, টেনচন, অনিদ্ৰা আঁতৰ কৰিব ইয়াৰ 2 মিনিট মালিচ আৰু আপোনাক কৰি তুলিব কুল। নৱৰত্ন তেল।
AI Parijat, AI Nikki.
Well, okay. It is important to take into note some of the weapon systems that we have. I'm coming for a quick comment. The Minister of External Affairs is going to have a briefing right shortly from now. But it is business as usual for India, actually. The World Bank President Ajay Banga has met the Prime Minister. The Saudi Arabian Foreign Minister is in India. The Iranian Foreign Minister is in India, so on and so forth. It's business as usual for India. The Defense Minister attended a meeting and lauded and praised the armed forces for their actions yesterday, and it is business as usual as far as India. The government leaders are doing their job, the armed forces are doing their job, but that's not the case in Pakistan. Pakistan is in a state of panic. Now, I was going to talk a little bit about the weapons. Now, the Sudarshan Chakra S-400 Russian-made systems, missile systems that intercepted the Pakistani projectiles mid-air and destroyed them last night. They're among the most advanced in the world, capable of tracking targets up to 600 kilometers away and intercepting threats at ranges of up to 400 kilometers. Now, India is understood to have deployed at least 4 squadrons so far, one positioned in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and several other places along the border. And not to forget about the BrahMos missiles, which can cruise at supersonic speed almost at as close to Mach 3. That is the speed of this BrahMos supersonic missile. So these are the weapon systems that we have. General Lamba, I mean, that gives us a huge edge, because as Monto Panging and General Kalta said, most of the Pakistani's defense and equipments, military hardware is supplied by the Chinese, and now it is almost turning out to be unreliable.
Very well said, Dr. Wasbir. I think talking about the S-400, it's a system that India is testing live for the first time. But this system has shown its credibility in the war in Ukraine, in the war in, the Russia's war in Ukraine. And in fact, it's been even tested, supposed to have been used somewhere in the Middle East. I think its credibility is above board. The hit probability has been extremely high, despite all evasive and defensive measures taken by their counterparts on the other side of the adversary. As far as the BrahMos is concerned, we are aware, and yesterday a lot of people were trying to find out the capability of the BrahMos missile. But I remember long back when we were on the governing council of this weapon system, it had a phenomenal capability, started with about 400 kilometers. Today it's gone down to 600 plus. It's on a steep dive mode. It has variants that it can be fired from the Air Force and from the Navy. I think this kind of a system, which has been with us for 20 years, has seen one upgradation after another. From a ground-based BrahMos, we've seen that it's done so well by targeting from aircraft, and recent tests by the Navy have put this ahead of any of its equivalents in the world. We also know that Philippines is taking its second squadron of the S-400 from India, and other countries in the Southeast Asian region are also looking for S-400. The BrahMos. That's of the Indian origin. And coming back to S-400, it's an established Russian system, tested extensively, giving us and paying us for our ability to foresee the skies in these times, as much from China as much from Pakistan. And I think it's been great perception of our leadership and our military leadership to have inducted this in time. It's phenomenal.
Now, General Kalita, I know you have to go. The Chinese have been talking and always maintaining a aggressive posturing as far as India is concerned, and northeastern India is no exception. You commanded the Eastern Command. Who knows it better than you. Now the point is, India has always been prepared for a two-pronged war. Hypothetically speaking, India has been preparing for a two-pronged war because now we are having an escalated situation with Pakistan, and the Chinese are keeping quiet. Of course, the tariff war launched by the Americans under Trump 0.2 has rattled the Chinese, and they are banking heavily on Pakistan. That can be a sobering influence. But we are not complacent, isn't it? We are prepared for a two-pronged war.
Yeah, you see, any force of a nation, the capability development is based on the threat envisaged. So, rightly so, in addition to the threat from Pakistan, right since partition, we have seen so many wars and conflicts, and including proxy war. The threat from China has also grown over the years, and which has been highlighted by various conflicts which we had, skirmishes, whether you call it Doklam face-off or Galwan, or earlier as well in Eastern Ladakh. So all these incidents prove that there is a threat from China as well, with a possibility of a collusive threat from China as well as Pakistan. How it manifests on ground, it can be debated separately, but the threat always remains. So the Indian Defence Forces, as a nation, I think we have rightly taken a decision to develop our capability to be in a position to meet both the threats, as well as the 2.5 front which you talk about, that is maintaining an internal stability within the country. So the capability development has been done accordingly. All the new acquisitions have been carried out, and there are two-pronged attacks, two-pronged approach, I would say, for capability development. One is export, that is getting equipments which are readily available in the international market and the countries which are ready to sell to us. And the secondly, is to develop those indigenously, and so that it brings in our self-reliance or Atmanirbharta, which has been given a lot of focus in last about a decade or so. So this two-pronged approach has definitely helped us to acquire new generation weapons, to be able to meet any envisaged threat, whether from northern borders or western borders, or a collusive threat from both the sides.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'd like to thank General Kalita at this point in time because he has another program to attend. Thank you, General Kalita. Let me come to you, Group Captain Panging. Group Captain Panging, you know, how easy or difficult, I should say, how difficult is it to breach an enemy country's air defense system? Because we definitely breached their air defense system this morning when our missiles and drones were able to hit targets in Pakistan, in the heart of Pakistan, in Lahore, in Karachi and in Rawalpindi. How difficult is it to breach an enemy country's air defense, especially when that country is supposed to be on an alert?
So it is a very interesting question. See, this electronic countermeasures, electronic warfare, it's a fascinating game. So we call it, electronic warfare, electronic countermeasures and electronic countermeasures. That means ECM, ECCM, ECCM. So one of the prime way to penetrate, actually every nation, every military has a layered system of defense. So they prepare it accordingly. A outermost layer, which may consist of airborne aircraft. Then you have a second layer of long-range radars and long-range missiles. Then you have a third layer of medium-range radars and medium-range missiles. And then you have a short-range missile and short-range radars. And finally, like the Israeli Iron Dome system, what you talk about, finally you have a close-in weapon system. A very rapid-firing gun called as the, you can get an example is the Vulcan Phalanx. Which fires, it makes a wall of bullets. Because let's say you fire 100 missiles from the air at the same time, targeting the same one, the best of the system may not be stop all of them.
Right.
And some may be able to penetrate even this layered system of defenses. Therefore, what we do in peacetime is very important. And for things what is happening today, what we have done for the last 5-6 years, to gather electronic warfare, to collect the electronic signatures, to do these probing missions, find out the data, and then have equipment to do a soft kill and a hard kill to penetrate. And obviously, if somebody has a long-range missile, for example, let's say somebody has the HQ-9P, like the Pakistan has, which has got a range of 250 kilometers. So now to counter that, we have brought in the so-called Sudarshan S-400, which has got a range of 400 kilometers. Now, can you imagine some airborne projectiles like drones or missiles or platforms, aircraft platforms trying to penetrate this 400 kilometers barrier? So it is not that they will not be able to penetrate, they will be able to penetrate, but you have to be ready for some attrition.
Yes.
Some wartime attrition you have to be ready for.
Yes.
And you have to have a very well-trained force, professional force, which the Indian Air Force is very well-trained of. I am very proud of that. We are the pioneers of training these advanced systems in Indian Air Force. And I'm sure our boys are equipped to do that. So it's actually when conflict happens, it's a culmination of many years of training and professional build-up.
Yes.
So like they say, the more we sweat in peace, the less we bleed in war. So this is a test we have, and I'm sure we will be able to tackle whatever Pakistan is throwing at us.
Absolutely. Now let me turn to you, General Lamba. You know, the Indian government, our defense establishment has confirmed today that Pakistan tried to engage a number of military targets in northern and western India using drones and missiles last night, but these were neutralized by the integrated counter unmanned aerial systems, integrated counter UAS systems, unmanned aerial systems. Now, this morning we saw how India targeted the Pakistani air defense systems and neutralized it. Now we have seen the world is with India. There is no condemnation of what India is doing, because India is doing this in self-defense, because India has made it very clear that it will not escalate, but will definitely strike back if Pakistan goes into some kind of adventurous means like it did last night but failed.
So I think two things you've asked, Dr. Wasbir. One is about the system, the weapon systems, and I think the Sky Striker of Israel is one of the parallels that we frequently draw with in our capability of a system, of a UAS system that strikes like a missile. It's classified as a loitering munition, and it has most advanced technologies. The other is about how the international support and the backing that comes along with India's actions. If we work through the doctrine of elimination of terrorism, three aspects come through clean. One is striking the roots of terrorism. Second is eliminating their financial support. And third and final is when a country can get international support and backing to support its actions, it's supposed to be the final accomplishment. When you say that the country sees your perspective and the pain you've been through, it's a very great success, which adds on options to you and impels immense pressure on the adversary from taking any further desperate actions. So I think
Right.
at that way, we are best placed. There could be no better environment ever. I don't remember this kind of a diplomatic support built up in the past with the present government and Prime Minister Modi's personal leadership. I think we can count about 25 countries that are standing by India, and the others who really should not bother us at all.
Absolutely.
Their stance, their personal perspective should be ignored for the kind of support that we have. And we are very strongly placed, and we are very well placed to move on the direction we have chosen.
Absolutely, absolutely, General, very well said. We are going live to the briefing by the Minister of External Affairs. If my panelists have the time, I'd request you to just stand by for your comments at the end of this press conference. But I don't know how long it's going to take. Thank you, gentlemen, for understanding. Let's go to that MEA press conference live.
Related to developments since late last night, early this morning, which has been put out by the Ministry of Defence. Just in case it has been missed, I will request Colonel Sophia Qureshi and Wing Commander Vyomika Singh to just update you and fill you in on the details.
Thank you, sir. ऑपरेशन सिंदूर पर 7 मई 2025 को हुई प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस के दौरान भारत ने अपनी प्रतिक्रिया को केंद्रित, संतुलित और गैर उत्तेजक बताया था। यह विशेष रूप से स्पष्ट किया गया था कि पाकिस्तानी सैन्य ठिकानों को निशाना नहीं बनाया गया। साथ ही दोहराया गया कि भारत में किसी भी सैन्य लक्ष्य पर हमले का उचित जवाब दिया जाएगा। 7 से 8 मई 2025 की रात को पाकिस्तान ने उत्तरी और पश्चिमी भारत में स्थित कई सैन्य ठिकानों को, जैसे कि अवंतीपुरा, श्रीनगर, जम्मू, पठानकोट, अमृतसर, कपूरथला, जालंधर, लुधियाना, आदमपुर, भटिंडा, चंडीगढ़, नाल, फलौदी, उत्तरलाई और भुज पर ड्रोन और मिसाइलों से हमला करने का प्रयास किया। इन हमलों को इंटीग्रेटेड काउंटर यूएस ग्रिड और वायु रक्षा प्रणालियों द्वारा निष्क्रिय कर दिया गया। इन हमलों का मलबा कई स्थानों से बरामद हुआ, जो कि पाकिस्तानी हमलों का प्रमाण है। On the night of 7th May 2025, Pakistan attempted